I am Ariel. Lovely to meet you all. I am given this big task today to try to explain the difference between yoga and Qigong, or to compare yoga and Qigong. Actually, it's a common question that we got asked, what is specific called yoga and what is specific called Qigong. But as we know that like both technologies, Qigong and yoga, they are both advanced technologies, wonderful, beautiful practices, and both of them are so vast. There are more than 3,000 types of Qigong, and there are also many types of yoga. Now, first thing, both are holistic approach to health, vitality, and awakening the human potential. All right, both have like simple practices that is great for harmonizing our energy, giving us vibrant health, and like releasing us from pain and stress. But both also have very advanced technology to awaken the human potential, to activate, to help us realize truth and self-realization. So I love practicing both because I find it they are very complementary. Because at different times I'm more like an intuitive person, because at different times I will just tune into what I feel that day, and of course after having practiced long enough individual practices that I know, okay, it's sort of like I'm doing my prescription. Okay, today I'm feeling this. I know that from yoga I can really draw on this practice to support my healing today, or my focus today. But there are times that okay, maybe today I just need this particular piece of Qigong to help me harmonize. So yay, that is I find it like the more I learn from these two amazing lineages, and the more I practice, the more my practice become like beautiful. Yeah, it's more a co-creation, a flow. So they are both holistic approaches with both simple and advanced technologies, practices. What I'm seeing them, like both yoga and Qigong, are both beautiful practices that I love dearly, and I practice them both as a complementary to with each other. Now I'm trying to explain the differences so that it's easier for you to, this is what I'm like. You have a more streamlined practice or approach to your healing journey. I think the biggest difference is actually the root is lie in the fact that both a holistic approach, right? But the difference lies in that they use different energetic maps. Right. There are many ways to look at our bodies, right? Doesn't matter you're Indian or Chinese or British or American or Australian or Persian. Yes, so we are all humans, right? Humans are energetic beings, but different traditional, sometimes depends on different culture or different influence from their own connection with divine. They sort of download and receive different energetic maps. So different ways of looking at the body. And based on these different ways of looking at the human body, and especially the energetic body, they come. So from that base, we came with different practices and approaches, like to support the awakening or the healing or just the everyday functioning of the physical body. Like we have to really think about like this body that we have is not just the physical. There's so many bodies we have. We have a physical body, we have energetic body, we have mental body, we have emotional body, and we have the spiritual body. So it doesn't matter which like tradition you talk about, but we all agree that they're different bodies, but we just have different ways of looking at this body, different differentiation, different terminology, and hence that comes different techniques to support those systems. I'm just trying to highlight 5 main differences regarding how they use different map and come with different practices. Now, yoga have a very elaborate way of looking at the energy centers, the chakras. So, which is the Sanskrit term for describing energy center or wheel, like a disc of light. Okay, so we have the spine, right, which is loosely correspondent to our central channel, and along there are many chakras and energy centers in our body, but the main ones the yogi talk most about is the 7 major chakras along the spine. Okay, and there's such an elaborate thousands of years of experiment and technique that that comes about based on chakras, how we harmonize it, how we awaken it, how we activate them, and how we heal them, all sort of things. And each energy centers correspond not just the physical part of the body, but also the astral and the causal, emotional, and mental. Okay, now doesn't mean that Qigong doesn't focus on energy centers. We do have energy center as well, but mostly we focus on what we call the 3 dantians, the fields of elixir. All right, so the 3 dantians we focus on, it's like the main energy centers that the Taoists focus is the lower dantian, which is the lower abdominal, the middle dantian around the heart area, and the center of the brain, the upper dantian. So 3. Now, it's not that like one system is better than the other, definitely not, right? But because within the 3 dantian, we already sort of associate with the other chakras. So the lower dantian, it also corresponds to, if I have to compare with the yogic way of saying it, it's also composes of the first and second chakras, and so on and so forth. It's so beautiful to look at them, is that they use different terminology, but they have similar understanding, but they just use different maps. Like if you look at a building, right? Like if you look at a building, there are maps for the pipe, there are maps for electricity. Okay, so this energy centers and dantian, that's one difference. And second difference is, all right, the yoga have these energy channels. So we can see that the energy centers are like the towns and the cities. All right, so like locations. But like to get to a town and city, you need like roads, right? So there in yoga, we call it the nadis, the energy channels. From the yogic text, we always say that there are 72,000 nadis, energy channels, and 14 are important. And within these 14, 3 are the most important. All right, that's the 3 channels. There's one in the center, and then one's on the left and one's on the right. Okay, after talking about the 70,000 and then the 14 and then the 3, yeah, so mainly we just focus on the 3. Yeah, the center one and the left and the right, the yin and the yang, the moon and the sun. Right, the duality. Qigong or Chinese medicine have such an elaborate way of describing the energy channels, which we call meridians in the Taoist perspective. The energy channels, meridians. Okay, so there's so many pathways, and it's a very elaborate map all the way from toes to your head, like running through not just the surface of the skin, but also deep into your muscle, your organs, your connective tissues. Like, so yoga have a very elaborate map on the energy centers, like the maps. So sorry, the centers, like the town and the cities, or the description of that. But Qigong or Chinese medicine have a very elaborate map on the channels, the meridians, the roads that go to different part of the body. So I think it's beautiful when we actually overlap those 2 maps. Then you have an even more complete understanding of the human experience, right? Isn't it cool? I think it's super fascinating. All right, so these are the 2 main differences, right? And then the third difference is similarity and difference. Like the similar thing is both systems have 5 elements. Yeah, both have a 5-element theories, but the 5 elements they use are different. In the yoga tradition, we have the earth, water, fire, then air and space, or ether, air and space. Okay, Qigong, Chinese medicine, we have the Taoist perspective. We have earth, same, water, same, fire, same, but instead of air and space, we have wood and metal. Okay, again, doesn't mean that one is like more like smarter or more accurate than the others. No, it's human body is complex. Not just human body, like humans are complex because we are not just like composed of the physical, but the astral, causal, like spiritual, however terms you want, we're multi-dimension as a human, right? Remember, we are multi-dimension. So I think it's just different traditions have tried their best to use different terminology that relevant to the culture that they arise from, like to put it in the best way that is relevant to the people in their particular culture. But now we are so lucky, right? We are so lucky that it's such a open world that we got to get to tune into, learn about all these different traditions. Okay, so the 5 elements are different. Number 4 difference is the techniques. Okay, this is a hard one to compare because what types of yoga you're comparing to what types of Qigong about, because both lineages are just so vast, so diverse. All right, but I'm trying to compare the sort of the modern or the most mainstream one that we can come across, to give you a perspective. Qigong have much, I find personal experience, Qigong have much more focus about really balancing the yin and yang, balancing duality, grounding and uplifting, especially the grounding part as well. You see a lot of our Qigong practice is really rooting down, is the stance. You're rooting down to earth before you start doing any kind of movement. Right, so that's one significant that I noticed. Whereas doesn't mean that yoga doesn't do any grounding. It's not. Yoga is also have this understanding of duality. But I found most of the practices, even in the modern day vinyasa, a lot of time we're upside down, right? Even in downward facing dog, we're upside down. We're actually reversing the circulation, right? We're turning ourselves upside down even in downward facing dog. We're changing the relationship with earth. I say actually yoga have a lot more this changing the perspective, turning things upside down, and more focus on ascending, drawing energy up and transforming matters, transforming our understanding from the more gross and dense to more subtle. Because as we rise through our chakras, or the energy rising is having this understanding, the chakra is from the most gross at the base to more subtle at the top. Interesting perspective, and I love both, and I have different experience, and I find both practices are so valuable in a different stage of my life, different stage of my day even. The 5th, the last one I want to draw your attention is that, which is actually quite significant, that I have yet to find in Qigong, but is very present in my own yoga practice, is the use of sound vibration. So I haven't come across it's just not their focus. All right, in Qigong that we don't chant mantra or use a lot of what they call sound medicine, vibration codes, using the voice and the sound. We do have six healing sound. For example, different organs have different particular healing sound. Also there are different voices and sound in say tiger breath or different kind of breath, with particular sound that we use in particular practice. There are that, but I just think it's not as prevalent in my personal experience of Qigong. But whereas my personal experience of yoga is so much into the sound vibration, the chanting a mantra, those Sanskrit expression, the coded medicine we use by voice and sound. These are what I try to put into perspective. It's just such both techniques, both science, technologies are wonderful. So the best way to find your own answer is experience yourself. That is always the best. A teacher, a guy can only tell you how an apple tastes, right? You won't know how an apple tastes until you try it. Same for yoga and Qigong. They're both experiential science, so you have to experience yourself. So go try yoga and try Qigong and even different types of yoga and Qigong, and we would love to hear your experience. So have fun with that. I wish you good Qi, and I'll see you again. Namaste.